Okay, so I'm going to install the R2 kit onto this gun. Removing the grip screws, obviously very simple. I'll take the grips off completely. It'll help later on with the changing of the rear frame screw. While we're doing this, change out eye cover screws. Take one of the new patch screws. You should feel it's a bit tighter to go in. That's the nylon patches biting on the threads. Okay, eye cover screws replaced. Remove the inline regulator to make it easier to remove the frame screws, and we'll also unplug the circuit board, plug the eyes and the solenoid from the circuit board. For replacing the rear frame screw, it's easier to remove the whole frame. You need that screw again. Fire that frame off. Now completely remove the rear frame screw. Take the new one, tighten that in. Again, you'll feel it's much tighter going in. Tighten that in a number of turns. We'll reattach the frame. Make sure, obviously the main thing is to make sure no wires are pinched here between the frame and the body as you slide the two pieces together. Should slide on nice and smoothly all the way forward. If there's any kind of resistance, it's more than likely you've pinched a wire. So I'd drop off the frame and redo it. That slides on nicely. Screw that rear frame screw in. Just leave it very slightly loose. Front frame screw in. Make sure the frame slid all the way to the front. There should be no gap at all at the front there. Tighten that. Tighten the rear frame screw. Now plug solenoid, eye loom, plug back into place. Make sure the wires are tucked down. Make sure the wires aren't stuck behind the marker switch at all. Okay, so that's the rear frame screw fitted. We've done the two eye cover screws. Put the grips back on at this point. It's easier while the inline is off. Take the new patch screws again. Replace all 6 of those. Whoops. Okay, we'll just put that to one side for now. We'll do the inline piston. Remove the top, the inline piston. You'll see in here this is the old piston. There's no brass stem in the centre there. Remove that piston and remove the spring. Put that to one side. Take a new piston and apply a small amount of Eclipse grease. You can see just a small amount. Just wind that around the O-ring and just fill up the grooves on the O-ring. Also put a little bit on the stem where it's going to go through the O-ring in the reg bottom. Get rid of the excess. Slide that piston back into place. Place the reg spring. Place the reg bottom. Okay, that's the first two elements done. Remove the old prop shaft. When you remove the old one, you'll feel how loosely it comes out. Again, you can see on here don't have any of the indicators on here to denote the difference between the new one and the old one. Put that to one side. Again, just a little bit more grease to do the front O-ring. This is the key one because it obviously slides up and down inside the bolt. Don't need to put any lube on the front at all. Go to the back one, put some lube on the rear O-ring just to help us get it in. And just a little tiny bit around the threads. Obviously a new one will be very dry, it's always better to apply a bit of lubrication to the threads first time you apply them to anything. Okay, you can slide that in. You should be able to feel when the O-ring bites, it's a significant amount of force required. Screw that in, but it can still be done by hand. Snug that up. Should no longer be any requirements to tighten it in with your hex key unless you really want to. Once that's in, it shouldn't really move at all during play. And that is the kit completed.